time we get started with In the Headlines, where we get to have a quick look at what the papers have for us this morning. 4 different dailies. I have a copy of the Daily Nation. Remember, you can always be part of this. Share with us your thoughts in regards to some of the stories that we are going to be highlighting for you. Talk to us on Twitter. The hashtag is Good Morning Kenya. At KBC Channel 1 is our official station handle, and our individual handles are at Victor Oloo, at Doreen, at Regina Manyara, and at Jain Wambui. Now, starting off with the Daily Nation, quite a number of stories have found their way here, starting with the 2 stories there on the header. Number 1, failure to get vaccines has consequences, and this is more so on civil servants who have been given up until the 23rd of August to take the COVID-19 jab or face disciplinary action. What are those actions, you ask? I will be giving you those details in a bit. The other story here on the header says money no obstacle as PSG reunite Messi with Neymar. That's a story that, had people talking, especially when Messi gave his last remarks during that press conference. And coming to the main story here on the front page of the Daily Nation, Ruto allies face axe in cabinet changes. Now, their leaders also held talks on a flag bearer to take DP into the 2022 State House race. And this was the meeting that was attended by Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka, Musalia Mudavadi, Moses Wetangula, and Gideon Moi, as well as President Kenyatta, who met them in State House in Mombasa. We are yet to get the proper details from this meeting, but we'll be telling you how it has been captured here on this particular daily. Then there is this story concerning Deputy CJ Philomena Mwilu, where the court told off 20 million deals, and now the court was told that Deputy CJ engaged in suspicious financial activities at the Supreme Court parking lot, her office at the building, and her home in Kilimani 7 years ago. And this also ties with this particular story here on the back page of the Daily Nation, where Chief Justice Martha Koome, in a meeting with Interior CS Fred Matiang'i and Police Boss Mutiambai, seeking to accord judges the same privileges as MPs, where they cannot be arrested within the precinct of Parliament, and so these rights and privileges should be accorded to the judges as well, because we have seen from previous instances where DCI have stormed into the judicial space and arrested some of these judges who have been suspected to be involved in some of these activities. Coming to the last story here on the front page of the Daily Nation is the story of 15 Comorans who went on a 2-day tour, but it turned out to be a 22-day ordeal out at sea. Details coming up in a bit. Vic.
All right. So on the front page of the Star newspaper here is 2022 is yours to lose, Uhuru tells opposition chiefs. 2022 is yours to lose, Uhuru tells opposition chiefs. New alliance and single presidential candidate in the offing. That is what's making on the front page of the Star newspaper. Yesterday, President Uhuru Kenyatta met Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya, Musalia Mudavadi of ANC, ODM leader Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka of Wiper, Ford Kenya, party leader Moses Wetangula, and Senator Gideon Moi of KANU, and they had their 5-hour meeting in Mombasa. And now, new alliance and single presidential candidate in the offing. Now, Kenyatta's strategy, Kenyatta urges rivals to join hands against his deputy in the 2022 general election. Right. So Jubilee is instilling fear in critics, says DP Ruto. Deputy President William Ruto has asked leaders to compete on issues, programs, and development track record. Ruto said yesterday that it was time politicians desisted from engaging in state tactics of threats and coercion. That, he said, will not work. He said that intimidation will always have a shelf life. And in 3 months' time, all this will come to pass. All right, so again on the front page, parents believe Magoha directive on fee refund will be ignored. Parents believe Magoha directive on fee refund will be ignored. What are they saying? The Kenya Parents Association Chair Nicholas Mayo yesterday said that despite Education CES George Magoha's efforts to outline government's set fees, head teachers remain defiant. Now, in July, the ministry set fees for national schools at 45,000 shillings and 54, and county schools at 35,000 and 35 shillings. Now, Mayo says that the directive comes as a reprieve, but fear that they will have zero execution in many schools. So that is the fear from the parents as per the directive from the Ministry of Education. So this is it. Get COVID-19 jab or be disciplined. Kenya tells government employees. There's something that's also been making headlines on several newspapers here. Civil servants who have not been vaccinated against COVID-19 have until August 23rd to do so or be disciplined. All right, so you have that from your boss. If you don't get vaccinated, you are going to face that disciplinary action. So, heavy seals off LSK offices, but Wambua won't budge. There is this issue at the Law Society of Kenya offices between LSK boss, between the factional wars, continue to rock the Law Society of Kenya, this time over access to its offices. Now, one group is led by Society's President Nelson Harvey, and another is led by CEO Mercy Wambua. And yesterday, there were some scuffles in the offices where it's alleged that goons stormed that place, and they then changed the door locks and the gate padlock. When Wambua and the Secretariat staff reported for work yesterday morning, the new guards denied them access. Okay, so we will take a look at that story later on in our next discussion, just to see what is happening at the Law Society of Kenya. Doreen.
Where they're supposed to get their job, and the directive was on or before 23rd, or risk some punishment there. So perhaps I'll be telling you also how the PD has covered that particular story and what is set to befall them if at all they do not get to do that, because again, also a good number of the civil servants have actually come out to complain saying that this directive, the way in which it's being enforced, is not in the right way. All right, coming to politics right now is One Kenya Alliance leaders, inclusive of ANC's party leader, that is Musalia Mudavadi, as well as his other counterparts, are now adamant that they will only work with Raila as an equal partner. But the president, that is Uhuru Kenyatta, tells them time is running out. This story this morning, well cut out from page 4 through 6 of the PD, so clearly just perhaps taking a good chunk of the paper, well detailed, highlighted, and I'll be telling you about that in a short while. And also, as we keep talking about elections coming in on 9th of August 2022, and we keep saying that when we gear up towards elections, new parties are formed, new alliances are formed. Some of the parties that had been in the cold, resurfaced back, and that is the case with PNU. If you can remember that particular party which plots a revival after a decade in the cold, and a series of events to relaunch former President Kibaki's re-election party are set to climax on its 14th anniversary on September 16th with new officials. What does that mean for that particular party there? When it comes to the corridors of justice, hardcore burglar with more than 20 cases arrested again. That is actually a lady, Lavenda Akinyi, who has more than 20 cases just against her. Which cases are these? Why did it take so long for her to be arrested? Details of that coming in a short while. Coming to matters education, we still have that particular article there whereby the state has ordered school to refund extra fees, and also in the same breath urging school heads and principals not to send students who have not paid fees home. And remember that we had this particular story also last week whereby we were saying, it's a bit of a tussle because this is what the government is saying and this is perhaps what the parents are saying. So also I'll be highlighting for you how that particular article has been written there. And when we stick to still matters education, right now education officials chief start hunt for candidates yet to join Form 1. So for those that were eligible to join Form 1 and haven't yet joined, that is what education officials are now doing, trying to see how best they can get them to schools. Ray.
Now it seems the scribes have been reading from the same
script on the 3 dailies that we have sampled, so let's get right into the details. I want to take a human interest angle And this is in regard to the two brothers, that is Benson Njiro and Emmanuel Mutura. This is a story that took the country by storm. Mainstream media as well as social media was abuzz with the news of their killing. And this particular article on the Standard this morning has just given us a breakdown as to their last moments for the three brothers. On Sunday, they go to the shopping center to open up their new business that the family had come together to just start up for them before going back to school, or a resumption of college in September. One was pursuing law, the other one was going to be pursuing solar engineering, so to speak. So at around 4 p.m., the mother calls them and tells them to bring home some cash. And this is from their pork business, which was doing well. At 8 p.m., the mother, that's on Sunday fast, calls them and tells them that they are in Kianjokoma and would be home in 20 minutes after meeting up with some friends. 8:20 p.m., the mother calls Emmanuel, who assures the mom that he'll be home in a few minutes. 9:50 p.m., the police arrive at Kianjokoma Market from Manyata Police Station, which is about 5 kilometers away. 10:16 p.m., the mother calls the boys, but their phones are unreachable. Fast forward to Tuesday, August 3rd, where the family files a missing persons report at 9 p.m. and at 9 a.m. and at 10:20 a.m. the family is informed by the OCS that the two suspects jumped from a moving police Land Cruiser and died. In this particular article, it has captured a witness report who has requested not to be named or owing to worries about concern about their security. And I'd like to read it as it has been captured. I will talk to you if you promise not to record me or put on the media for security reasons. That's according to an eyewitness and a resident. So he was at the market on that fateful day. The police arrived at their usual to enforce the curfew some minutes after 10 p.m. The two boys with their friends were walking home at about 500 meters from Kianjokoma. On spotting the police, people ran in different directions. Mutura could not run fast enough, and a police officer hit him on the head with a baton. And this is according to the witness. They say at some point when Njiro had the cry from his brother, he turned around. And when he turned around, running back to his brother, he ran into angry officers who clobbered him. The police panicked after they realized that they had killed Mutura and dragged him and his brother, who was now unconscious, to the front seat of the said Land Cruiser. Other persons arrested at the back watched in horror as the officers strangled Njiro on the way, as he was a witness by then. After dropping the people at the station, the police said after dropping the people at the police station, and this is according to the witness account that has been captured in this particular article, the Land Cruiser left the station with the two brothers. This is when the bodies could have been dropped at Njokere Forest. Now, according to an autopsy report that has been released last Thursday, indicates that Njiro had multiple injuries on the head, the ribs, and the limbs with hard bruises, while Mutura had head injuries from a blunt object. So your guess is as good as mine, and justice needs to be served. Now, bringing or rather roping in my colleagues this morning, you have heard what this witness has said. We have read what the autopsy report that was made public last week has said. So it's it coincides, or rather there's quite some correlation between the witness account and the autopsy report. Speaker Justin Muturi has said that witnesses need to come out and report this particular matter, or rather give their witness account to the Independent Police Oversight Authority. This comes at a time when we are all skeptic if indeed this family is going to get justice. So there are about 9 witnesses to the ordeal, but none is willing to come out to give their witness account because they are scared and they do not trust the security apparatus. So my question is to my members here, Victor, Jain, and Doreen. From where you sit, we've had the IPOA asking the general public to come out and, you know, give their accounts when we are looking, or rather in the quest for justice. But the willingness and the trust, or rather mistrust, when it comes to security agencies, it often affects justice. Do you think this case is going to be different? Let's start off with Victor.
Well, I just hope. We've this story we've read, we've had so many theories behind it. One sad part about this story is that one of the gentlemen was pursuing engineering course, the other one was taking law, pursuing law. So you can imagine these are two brains who have just been, just been allegedly murdered, and their bodies dumped in a very bad situation. Now, this is a situation here. The police are saying that they don't know what happened to the young boys, but according to the witnesses, they were arrested after they were caught flouting the COVID-19, the curfew hours. But then the question is, if somebody is caught flouting the curfew rules, what is the best thing to do? All right. For example, if we've seen so many clips of police officers rescuing drunkards who, you know, found themselves sleeping in the trenches late in the night, and they are escorted home. All right. So the question is the work of the police officer during curfew hours to torture or to protect, or rather even to escort you to your home? That is the question. Because first of all, you have to ask someone, okay, it's 10 p.m., where were you? It's as simple as such. It's always good to have that conversation. But if you're combative, then we might end up getting in a situation where, you know, people are now hating the police officers because of such kind of cases. The trust between the public and the police officers will continue to widen. While in the real sense, that gap should be as tight as possible, because when there's a problem, the next person you should be able to run to is a police officer. But as it is, police are saying that they are investigating the matter. All you have to believe is that something will be done and justice will be found for the family, because those are 2 lives lost. Even one is one too many.
It's one too many. And
yeah.
you know, this takes me back to the other story we had of the Kanjo workers who battered this hawker because of failing to pay up some money that they demanded.
Actually, it was allegedly 100 shillings.
Allegedly,
yes. 100
bob.
Yeah.
And now, in this particular case, from the autopsy, the bodies of these beautiful young boys had bruises. That, in all honesty, there's one account that says that they jumped outside the moving police car.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, that there's body bruises. My question is, do these bruises align with a jump from the back of a moving Land Cruiser?
Yeah. Question
number 1. And then tying with that particular incident that happened last week with the city council workers, Kikuyu and me keep saying Kaju, with the city council operatives, could this be another replica of what we saw last week with that particular case? Because of failing to pay up some money, they took matters into their own hands, and this gentleman lost his teeth. Could this also may have been something that happened? Well,
yeah.
To some extent, and this is just my personal opinion, I'm inclined to think that perhaps that could be the case, because
just to interject, Dee, Ray, you did mention in one of those accounts they were taking some money home that they were told to bring by the mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, report has is that that day they sold pork. During their free time, they do some business, and they had 10,000 shillings. That's according to their uncle who narrated the story. Said that they had 10,000 shillings on that particular day from the sales of the pork that they do, so that they could raise school fees.
Imagine. Yeah. And the way I was saying is that to some extent, like I said, this is my own personal opinion, I'm inclined to think that perhaps that was just the case, because if you're found on the wrong, and let's just say curfew hours are curfew hours, and if you're found on the wrong, what does the system say? What is justice? Take this, let this person be arraigned, let them be charged. Why are they having bruises in their, on their body, just because they flaunted COVID-19 protocols when it comes to curfew? Reports have it that when COVID hit us in the country and all these measures were put in place, the number of death cases that have been recorded as a result of police brutality outweigh. There are so many of them, and perhaps maybe I'd want to give our justice system the benefit of doubt and perhaps believe that these two young men will actually get justice, because also the video that was going around of the mom crying, I mean, it's just so heartbreaking seeing not one but two of your sons with hopeful futures, man, just you have to bury them. And this is a parent having to bury two young souls like that. I think, I don't know if I could say it's our government or our system, but sometimes some form of humanity just needs to be with these officers, even as they arrest you, on the wrong or perhaps otherwise, because sometimes it's just otherwise. You're just found in the mix and you're taken, and that's how you lose your life. So I think maybe we need to look into how our justice system looks like, because I mean, we'll actually keep having these conversations, and the sad part is that the kind of convoys we have is only of reported cases. How much more of those that actually go unreported?
Good question. As they say, justice delayed is justice denied. But in as much as we want to give, the legal arm as well as the enforcers, and that is the police force, a benefit of a doubt in this situation, why did they let the demonstrators and protesters ban the said vehicle that would have provided evidence that Njiro and Mutura were actually in that particular Land Cruiser? Food for thought. That brings a cap to matters in the headlines. Remember that we are still live. You can reach us on Twitter at KBC Channel 1 News, at Doreen Arange, at Victor Oloo, at Jain Wambui, and at Regina Manyara. Have a pleasant viewing.